There comes a moment. I have a name for it which I won't repeat here, the essence of which is, oh gosh, what on earth do I do now? I was camped on a hydro transmission corridor access road about 30 kilometers east of Happy Valley Goose Bay, in sight of the Trans-Labrador Highway, but neatly tucked away out of view just in case there was anyone eager to ask what I was doing, which of course there wasn't. I woke to find a hard frost on the tent and my bike after a peaceful night, free from any traffic noise or curious bears. I'd been quite cozy in my little one-person tent and comfortably warm in my sleeping bag, but as the sun crept up over the treetops, my body informed me that it was time to arise and face the day. Before long I'd shaken the frost from the tent, packed the bike and was ready once again to hit the road. I turned the key. The starter grumbled, and the engine rolled over grudgingly, with no signs of imminent life. I gave it another try, but the Eldorado, which is usually very obliging, refused to start without so much as a cough to suggest there may be some action. By this time the cold battery was starting to fade, so I opened my toolbox, grabbed my booster pack, and tried again. This time the engine coughed weakly. What would I do if it wouldn't start? The ground was loose rock, not ideal for trying to bump start with a heavily loaded bike. No cell phone signal. There was nothing ahead for almost 400 kilometers, and I didn't fancy the walk back to Happy Valley Goose Bay. Perhaps I could flag down a vehicle, although the last one by had been hours ago. Surely there would be more by as the morning wore on. Perhaps they'd have jumper cables. If I could get the engine spinning fast enough, perhaps it would start. I attached the booster pack again and made sure the connections were good. By now it was only showing 2 red lights instead of the amber and green ones I'd have preferred to see. I turned the key again. The starter rolled the engine over, and she coughed. I tried again. This time, as she coughed, I held the key on and opened the throttle wide. Cough, 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 cough. Brum! She was running again. I'd had no such anxieties about the Goodsea's cold weather starting when I'd left home more than a week earlier. The old bike had been running beautifully, always starting quickly and performing as well as a 50-year-plus-old motorcycle has any right to. Following familiar roads north, I stopped briefly for some scenic pictures of the swollen Madawaska River, then crossed the Ottawa River into Quebec at Portage du Fort. These names probably mean little to you, but there are map geeks out there who like to follow along. Perhaps you're one. So I'll continue to pepper the narrative with place names. Oh, where was I heading? I had unfinished business in eastern Canada. I wanted to ride the Eldorado all the way to Long Point and touch the salt waters of James Bay. I wanted to visit the isolated village of Cartwright on the Labrador coast. And I wanted to follow the Labrador coastal road south into Quebec for as far as it goes, to the seductively named Old Fort. Curiosity, nothing more. But these were the 3 pieces of unfinished business that I was eager to complete.